always have moments in prison where we can enjoy our laughter with our dad, that we can be proud of his sacrifices and his principled position.
It gets you emotional.
Biru yang lebih muda. Yang lain-lain tergolong kepada undi-undi yang tidak mendatangkan mana manfaat untuk kita.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ambil air. Rasa dia belum.
Hello.
I thought at least you have to see them. Confirm already.
Day in the life of a political campaigner, huh?
Gambar. Oh, okay.
Kita ke mana tadi?
Kita ke Azmin Ali. I don't know. Because we're supposed to go to his place. Balik Pulau.
Very passionate, I have to say. These rallies.
This one is because it's the only seat that basically we retained in the year 2004.
Yeah.
They were always loyal to Dr. Sri Anwar, my father. I mean, regardless.
Yeah.
So it's a very special.
It felt like a family welcoming.
It's a stronghold, and they've been with us through thick and thin.
What have you found about the ruling party during this particular campaign that you've been shocked about?
I think the extent of desperation that has pushed the Prime Minister, who began his leadership or his ascension to the Malaysia's administrative throne by pushing the One Malaysia concept, celebrating diversity in 2010, and then before you knew it, he just started to blame the Chinese tsunami, pushing very hard on utilizing the politics of race and religion, and basically getting very much influenced by the whole Trump campaign. David Frum wrote this article calling us to beware of the dangers of the populist kleptocracies, right?
Yeah.
And I think Malaysia, being one of the key kleptocracies around the world, our danger is really following down this path, because we didn't start this way, even in Najib. And I think just out of sheer desperation, after being investigated by more than 10 countries around the world, he just resorting to this, insular, this racist, extreme racist and nationally jingoistic rhetoric. It's very sad for me, right? Because he's considered a younger Prime Minister, and we expected more from him. With the recent approval of the anti-fake news legislation, with the sordid gerrymandering process, and Malaysia has worse gerrymandering in the world. I think America's gerrymandering is nothing. Florida compared to us. So it's sad, because a democracy depends on free and fair elections.
How is your party different from this?
Well, we came to be back in 1999 on the 4th of April. We chose clearly to be a multiracial, multi-religious entity. Anwar Ibrahim was very clear in his vision of a Malaysia that's not based on the politics of race and religion. And I'm very proud of that, because I felt that we chose a very value-based, principle-based decision to set up this new political party against all odds, because the prevailing theme, whatever is being practiced, was always along racial divisions. And alhamdulillah, like in 20 years on, we're here, we survived, and we are also being chosen. Our symbol has been chosen by all the other opposition parties to be fielded together during the elections. It's very bittersweet, because it's come at so much cost. My father remains in prison. Most of my colleagues will face imprisonment one way or the other. It's a case in point, because how much further do we need to allow our democracy to be worse off, before people do something? The time to act, the time for change has to be now. I'm very proud to say that we control two of the richest states in Malaysia, and these two states have been superbly successful in comparison with many of the ruling party, the federal ruling party in other states. So I think it's a testament that we have actually crossed the Rubicon.
Yeah.
That people have actually embraced change, and it's brought numerous positive impact on their lives, alhamdulillah. So it's going to be a very close elections. We are going to face their dirty tactics, and populism has reared its ugly head. Everyone's going to be bought off. but we continue to believe in the wisdom and of the people, and we continue to have to rise above morally to ensure that whatever we articulate and we offer is predicated on justice. And that's why our reform agenda, which we've been fighting for since 1998, has always been an inclusive one. Some of the mention of former Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad, which has been a very difficult decision. I mean, this is a stronghold where Mahathir was seen responsible for the black eye that Anwar received back in 1998. And for us to suddenly be in a coalition with Mahathir, of course, caused a lot of shock to many people.
Yeah.
But I think, again, I in my speech I reiterated, when you do something, when you keep offering yourself as a public servant or as a candidate for elections, you will be tested. You will have to prove that you care more for the nation and for the future than your personal grievances or decisions or choices. And it's harder than it's very difficult to implement and do it. But I'm proud that we are doing our best to not just be, we're watchful, we're making sure everyone toes the line of reform, but we are also making sure that the agenda is not an exclusive one, because for Malaysia, for any economy, any country to sort of prosper, you need to come together. Divisions have to be sowed, unfortunately.
Well, when I flick through newspapers, especially the national ones, they don't have many nice things to say about you guys.
There's no freedom of the media, right? 99% of the news is either owned directly or indirectly by the government of the day, and it's not fair because we're facing an election.
Yeah.
You should allow all biases to appear, but there's only one particular viewpoint. And on top of that, they're trying to legislate social media. They're trying to control what comes out of social media. You'd be surprised, many international publications are so scared because the anti-fake news law can also be enacted against foreign publications. So there's no parliamentary disclosure, there's no parliamentary oversight. So in a way, Malaysians are going to be stuck if we continue to be controlled by the government of the day. There's no way for us to even ensure the 1MDB financial scandal is unearthed through the Attorney General's chambers, through the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, because every single sphere of governance and institutions are under the stranglehold of the Prime Minister. And that's how Malaysia works, And Mahathir Mohamad was very much an architect of the system. So he's got to right the wrongs. He's got to join us at 92 and do his bit, right? So that's what we're trying to do here in these elections. That's why I'm very proud to be part of this. For me, when I started at 18, maybe 17 plus. I don't know how old you were when you started, Syed, but
It's in your blood.
I don't know. I'm supposed to be an engineer. Malaysian government had to disturb my life. Now having an electrical electronics engineer, I probably enjoyed that. But anyway, no regrets. Just good to be back here in my village where my father grew up in.
So this place where where the campaign trail was, where we were filming
this entire place,
This entire place.
Matang Pau. So it's where my father was born in and where he grew up. He won the seat in 1982 when I was 2 years old. I remember following him the campaign trail. He was an amazing campaigner. He was an amazing orator. Nobody speaks. I'm not trying to be biased here, but
hey, I don't understand Malay. You sounded really passionate to me, so I think he would be really proud if he saw you.
Okay, he'll be giving a lot of commentaries. It's right. Constructive criticism is in my blood. But he is perhaps the most powerful speaker in the country, and he's very funny, charming. So we really miss him.
Yeah.
You will not see a politician that has worked as hard as he has over the years.
So how confident are you that you guys are going to win?
Whatever it may be, I think we have a very good opportunity here. We have to. I'm a pragmatist. I'm very optimistic, but I'm always very mindful that we're going up against a government that has been in power for more than 6 decades. They've been in power since independence. So whatever we do, we must always be clear with our agenda. The agenda is to implement, institutional reforms. So for me, the fact that the Prime Minister, if he gets less than 120 seats, we're already in play, because he is a Prime Minister that has really lost control over his own party. So we just need to keep ahead of the curve, making sure that we campaign hard and we are watchful over the possible tricks that they might enact along the way, and be relevant with regards to the messaging on the ground. I mean, our relevance and our suitability as the leaders of this country depends very much on whether the public feels that we can be an effective voice for them. So to that end, you gotta do your bit, She was a successful ophthalmologist.
Yeah.
She was the first gold medalist for gynecology and obstetrics in the Royal College of Surgeons. The first Malay in the region to get that award. And she has held the party together for 2 decades. I think my father is the luckiest man on earth because of Wan Azizah. And I think if you had any other person, they would not have weathered so much.
How do you guys
so
cope
patiently.
whilst your father is away in prison?
I think my father has always reminded us that whatever you do, you're just a piece of the puzzle. It's not just about us. We're part of this movement, and many other people have suffered, many other people have sacrificed. And I feel so lucky because despite everything, we always have moments in prison where we can enjoy our laughter with our dad, that we can be proud of his sacrifices and his principled position with regards to reform and the love for justice. So these are the moments that make it meaningful, right?
It gets you emotional.
I mean, it's I really miss him, and sometimes I feel like he's very stubborn, but he's also inculcated a deep sense of love for community, for things that matter. And I want to leave that behind for my children, because life is never going to be rose tinted. And I do miss them, and I do miss my father, but I think we've actually been very thankful. We have been very lucky in many, many ways. And to that end, you're not going to be able to live on earth for too long, and that that commitment towards a particular agenda, a particular commitment for the people and their well-being is something that I think we treasure most.
Just keep your eye on the road.
That's funny. I have in front of me a lot. He was my driver initially in my first term, and then he eventually turned to Grab car.
Oh, really?
He gets a lot more, but just in time for these elections, he messages me and says, "I'm willing to take a pay cut. I'm gonna just serve you for the elections, YB, whatever you need." And I derive my power and support from people like Lolot who make everything much more comfortable. And here we are. Don't hit anyone. Okay. So yeah, this is where you meet some candidates who have been dropped, and you have to be nice.
Okay.
Life is like that.
Jaga. Malu sekejap lagi habis, kosong.
Belum menang lagi.
Dimakan, dimakan.
Makan banyak, makan sikit pun rasuah.
Makan apa? Kalau makan durian nak bukan rasuah.